stresses that they're coming back to, they're not prepared for. Because we're not prepared for some of the stresses we're dealing with, you, me included. And they're coming back out of significantly stressful situations that the common person will never be able to understand. And then we're asking them, we're saying, hey, yesterday they were the hero, and tomorrow they're just a common person.
Specifically stated, we were never trained to overcome stress. You know, I don't think stress was ever a part of our vocabulary in any of our SEAL training.
He'd come home, you'd get emotionally attached, so to speak, have to give up the control, and then a month later he'd be gone again. And you might not know where he was at, but you knew he was doing what he's supposed to do, and you wanted to support that. And so one of the things that you do to cope is you just kind of harden yourself so that it doesn't really affect you, and you just kind of push it all under the rug, basically.
Sleeplessness, irritability, anxiety, depression, whatever the symptoms might be, are also kind of a natural outcome of the experiences that the person has had. Now, do you want to stay in those symptoms? No, of course not.
One problem is that this is looked upon as a stigma. It's an evidence of weakness in many considerations of these vets. And so they don't like to admit it. And the problem is a lot of the vets won't even talk about it, even though they're in agony and pain and they're going downhill. They won't admit to it because it's a stigma.
We need to provide as much training as we can to these individuals, and One Freedom is doing their part to be a piece, an integral piece in that puzzle.
One Freedom is a 501c3 nonprofit that provides education and training on the neurophysiology of stress and what one can do to self-regulate. Our overall program is called Strength After Service, and its focus is really on reintegration from service in the U.S. military to coming back into communities. The training is focused on bringing neurophysiology 101 to a basic audience.
I cannot imagine how different our lives, like my mother, my father, and my life, how different it would have been had we had support when I was growing up and when my dad was in the service, this kind of support that One Freedom provides.
When tools to self-regulate are applied, people can have immediate results. It's free of charge, it's empowering to do, and it has direct positive impacts on the body.
I think that is a big part of dealing with stress, is the outlet. Because either that energy is going to control you, or you're going to control the energy.
One of the most important things that I learned this week was that it's important for the deploying spouse to recognize that the spouse that's at home is going through their own sort of trauma.
One Freedom is not only touching the lives of soldiers and families of soldiers, this is bigger than that.
I intend to see One Freedom lead the way with what we're seeing as a stress epidemic by raising awareness about what stress is and what we can do to help regulate it.
Soldiers leave there and they thank you. At the end they hug you. That's, to me, that speaks volumes of what that meant to them.